Good morning. Yes, I'm in my jammies, but that's okay. I'm gonna cover them with my royal blanket. Meow wow. Kitty kitty, wanna come over here and say hello to the people? Say hello to the people. You're getting so many views and so many new subs that you really should come over here and say hi to the people. He's sitting on his tree, looking out the window, and then looking at me like I'm an idiot. Which, of course, I am. I mean, we all are in the eyes of a cat, right? It's like, what is that crazy two leg doing? Now, he's not going to join us. He's going to lay down, go to sleep. I think I might have made a mistake on this perch I got for him. He hangs over the edge. He's so big. And it's like it said for a large cat. But apparently, he's not a large cat. He's a ginormous cat. So, I might have to go get me a ginormous uh, pedestal for him. And yes, I'm drinking coffee. It's like 8:30 in the morning. So, I'm on my final cup. So, don't worry, I am keeping up with the water. Been kind of failing at the food department, but I'm maintaining. I mean, you could say if you want to get Amberlin Reedish, I've lost 0.4 pounds. Not this past week, but the week before, I averaged between 131 and 133.8, and this past week it went down to 131, 133.4 for average. So I guess I'll take what I can get. But I have a few snacks left in the house, and after that, I'm done. And I want to welcome our new subs. Hello, welcome to the channel. Meow Wow is so happy that you've joined us. I'm happy. Um, if the more people that I can reach out to and touch and possibly help in a way of like um just knowing that you're not alone, for those of you who are going through trials and tribulations. I've been through more than my share, and I'm surviving. I sometimes wonder if I'm actually living, but I am surviving. um, I'm gotten to a point or a place where I'm okay up here. I'm slowly getting okay down here, but still grieving deeply over my Rimpy. I miss him so much. You have a pet for 19, 20 years, they become part of you. So losing him, I know it was the best thing, but it was also one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. But I'm okay with it. I don't have it out here, but I'm sorry, I have a hair bothering my nose. I hate that. Those invisible hairs. um, I did finish his paw print. I had to do the dates in paper and then glue them on and put a little. I used nail polish glitter overcoat, what I usually put on my fingers. And yeah, I know they need to be redone, but I'm kind of waiting for this one to grow out more because I don't like it. It broke way down below the tip of my finger, so I don't like putting on the nail polish and having a hunk of finger sticking up over the top. And to me, it looks funky. So I'm waiting for that. Shouldn't be long. But yeah, I used that for an overcoat. But when I wrote the dates on it in gel pen, and when I put the overcoat on it, you can't see them. So I just took little pieces of paper, wrote the dates on those, and I made the mistake of using this. I have this stuff for my card making. It's glue tape. It looks like a whiteout strip, but it's glue, sticky stuff. But on the one side, it didn't adhere, so I have to go back, glue it, and re-glitter it. But I'm pretty happy with it. The lettering is really hard to read, but it don't matter because I know who it is. And I put it next to Meow Wow, and even at its peak, Rimpy was 10 pounds. Oh, it'd been kind of small. I think his stunt growth got stunted as a kitten because, he was feral for 5 months and his siblings wouldn't let him share food or anything. I also believe he might have been the runt of the litter. But so he little thing. He looked big because he was fuzzy wuzzy, but he is actually very small compared to all the cats I've ever had in the past. I've always had big Maine Cooney kind of cats. And then I put his paw print. He's got a big paw print for a cat. And I put his paw print next to Meow Wow's little beans. And it's like Meow Wow's feet are half the size of Rimpy's. And yet here he's overhanging on his little bed post thing. He probably, I weighed him a while back, as you remember, and he was up to 18 pounds. The way he's eaten, I think he's surpassed that. He may have even surpassed 20. He gives me a hernia when I try to pick him up. He has turned from a feral stray to a fat, sassy house cat. And he's as lazy as one too, during the day at least. At night he gets the zoomies, but during the day mostly all he does is sleep. But yeah, I've been through it my entire life. I've been through it. One thing after another. When I was a child, my father got sick. We went from being rich to being dirt poor. But my mother still insisted we live in a middle class neighborhood. So there's a lot of ridicule, a lot of bullying, as they put it. We used to call it picking on. Now I guess the word is bullying. But yeah, I was picked on seriously all through grammar school, junior high. In junior high, they told me I could never amount to anything because I couldn't retain, I couldn't learn. I have since proved them wrong. Yes, I'm slow. I get that. But I do get it eventually. I mean, I do have a degree. It's a AA, 2-year degree, but it took me 6 years to do it, but I stuck it out and I did it. Then there's the loss of my mother in a very important part in my life. She was in the process of, I had just moved out. She was teaching me how to live on my own because I was a parent and I was only 19 and I had no clue how to do things. And it wasn't 3 months later she was gone. So I've had to survive. I had to teach myself. And then I lost her when she was in kindergarten in 84 and spent 4 years fighting. Then the fight just went out of both of us. It was a case of she was either going to get bounced to another foster home, which would have been, I think, her third or fourth, or the family she was with wanted to adopt her. And I felt at the time that stability was more important. She was old enough by this time to know I loved her and that I would always be there. That turned out to be a mess. I never should have done that, but hindsight's 2020. The whole fiasco around that put me in mental health again. I've been in and out of mental health since I was like 12. I think was the first time I went into mental health, because I think 12 was my first ending of my life episode. I guess we're not supposed to say the S word here. Which, no, I mean, yeah, I can see certain situations where it's not good to say it, like you don't talk about other people doing it or telling other people to do it. But when you're talking about your own experiences, it's very hard for me not to say it, because it's something, when it happens to you, you can't dance around it. It's like you can't dance around being in mental health. When I first went into mental health the second time in 84, we were patients. Then all of a sudden we were clients. And then again, they go, no, consumers. You're not a patient, you're a consumer. That's sugarcoating the reality, and I don't believe in that. You can't, it's a form of denial to me, and you can't get well on denial. So this past time, when I went back into mental health, the place I've just graduated from, they tried calling me a client or something, and I said, no, I'm a patient. Never refer to me as a client or a consumer, because I am not here on that. I am not here to buy a service. I am here to get well. And the only way to get well is to face the tribulation and the trial and to call it as it is. Because as long as you sugarcoat it with fancy words, you won't get well. In my opinion, that's been my experience. So I'm gonna start diving a little deeper into that kind of thing, because if I can help others just by saying my story and letting in telling my stories, I have many, then hopefully I can help somebody. They can watch my video and go, yeah, me too. And this is how, and along with my stories, I will go into how I overcame that particular trial or tribulation, because that's the key. I've seen a lot of people on here talk about, oh, I've been depressed. I have, the Amberlynn Reed I keep mentioning, she goes, oh, my mentals. She's lying. It's all, she thinks it's a game. It's an act. You can tell it's an act, because if she really had these problems that she says she has, and she has a whole list of them, you would be able to tell just by her mannerisms. And you can't. That it is so fake to me. And she never talks about how she's going to overcome them. She claims to be a binge eater, yet, and she goes, I binge, I binge, I binge. What are you doing to control the binge? She never says that, because as soon as she starts saying, in her mind, I think is how she's thinking, if I start to get better, then the views will go down. See, she's monetized big time. I don't know how, but this woman is raking in 20, 30,000 a month. And she does absolutely nothing but buy food and tour. It amazes me. I shouldn't rant on her like this, but I can't help it. When I'm sitting here getting just a hair over 1,000 a month, I'm not monetized. Um, I don't want to get monetized. It seems like it'd be a real hassle having to do the taxes and everything. But if Meow Wow, he got 1,400 views last week, I might monetize him. I got a long way to go though. Let me tell you, a long way, and it's no big deal. And I'm thinking of making a T-shirt to go through Teespring, but I gotta come up with the perfect picture, and then I don't know if people would buy it, but I would. But I have this whole picture of him, like a black silhouette of just his face, with a meow wow across the top, and then man underneath, because on Instagram that's who he is. He's meow man, meow wow man. I dare you to say that 5 times fast. So I think I've rambled enough. I'm like I said, I'm gonna start work talking more about some of the trials I've been through and how I've overcome them, because it's the overcoming that's important. You have to work. You can't just sit there and say, I have this illness or this disorder, so I have to live with it. You have to learn to overcome it, even if it means taking medicine to keep the symptoms at bay. Um, you know, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we'll see about doing that on Sundays, and I'm still doing it. You can look forward to the Meow Wow on the Wednesday shorts, and we shall talk to you all next week. You have a good one. Bye now.